in true Yasmin tradition, I would also like to thank God for giving us today. Okay, and the way Yasmin started all her movies, she always started it in the name of God, the most merciful, the most gracious, which she would usually say, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And she would greet everybody, whether they were Muslim or non-Muslim, with Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, to everybody. Okay. I think most probably nobody knows anything about Yasmin here. But what she did for Malaysia was, Malaysia is a multi-religious country. So we have, let's say out of 100 Malaysians, 70 would be Muslims. You would have about 20 Buddhists, maybe 10 Christians, and then the rest Hindus. So what Yasmin managed to do in the multi-religious Malaysia was that she managed to transcend the differences between Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, and Christians. Malaysia is far from a perfect country, but she managed to make it a lot more better in terms of inter-religious and interracial harmony. So, who was this Yasmin Ahmad, the filmmaker? She was born in 1958, but she passed away in 2009 during a presentation. She was just talking. Then she said, "Oh, I'm very tired," and then she died. So this is what Yasmin looked like. This was the real Yasmin Ahmad. She had a great sense of the ridiculous, and you can see the sense of the ridiculous in her work. She even believed that God had a sense of the ridiculous, because she used to say like, well, God created us and we're quite ridiculous, so He must be quite ridiculous as well. And there's another facet of Yasmin that a lot of people might not know of, and this was her. So Yasmin was a very devout Muslim. But she's not a devout Muslim who's able to transcend the differences between Muslims, Buddhists, Christians, and Hindus, which is very unusual within the Muslim context, because when most Muslims, when they are able to transcend that, usually they're what you call liberal Muslims. Muslims who do not pray, Muslims who do not find very much meaning in their religion, and their religion is just a form of identity. Whereas for Yasmin, Islam was very, very important to her. She saw miracles of God occurring in her life every day. So what you see here, this was Yasmin's office. If you can see at the corner, there's this piece of cloth down there. That's actually her prayer mat. And then her table would be beside it. We would have meetings beside it. So when, let's say we're having meeting and it's time for prayers, she would just slide out from her chair, go to that corner, which is like 2 feet away, and start praying. And she'll tell us, you all continue talking, continue discussing, I'll just pray. And after praying, she'll just slide back into the office, because prayer to her was as natural as going to the toilet or taking a bath or taking a nap. So God and prayer was very much part of her life. So you see, Yasmin was very religious, but it's very unusual for a Muslim in Malaysia or anywhere else in the world, because in the last, practically half a year before she died, this very devout Muslim had this on her computer screensaver. Those who know Chinese, this means Wu, right?
Right.
Yeah, Wu as in the Buddhist. In Pali, I suppose it would be Anicca, Anicca, Anicca. You all know that, right? It's it means nothingness, as in everything is impermanent. So, and 2 nights before Yasmin died, she stated how she wanted to achieve this nothingness, that she be nothing and God everything. So I know because Thailand is a Buddhist country, so this probably would be very commonplace, but within Malaysia, for a Muslim to achieve that kind of understanding of Buddhism is actually nothing short of a miracle. So besides this, also 2 nights before she died, Yasmin called all her staff into the office, into the auditorium, and told us that it doesn't matter whether you call God Allah, the Tao, or God, because to her, God is one. The same God that created us, that loves us, that takes care of us, whom we will all go back to when we die. And again, this statement in Malaysia is very controversial. People are put in jail for these kind of things. But Yasmin believed in it so strongly that even up to death, she still believed in it. And then 2 days later, she was dead. Okay, she was also a great admirer of Mother Teresa. Again, to a non-Muslim country, it's no big deal, but for within Malaysia, it is a big deal. It shows the kind of openness that she had. And this was what she lived by. Takut hanya pada Tuhan. In Malay, it means fear only God. Literally, Yasmin did not fear anything except God. And in fact, she was probably one of the bravest Muslim women in the Malaysian film industry, braver than any man that Malaysia has ever known. In fact, since she's died, no man has dared do what she has done. Because what she believed in was this: the key to harmony is not tolerance but understanding. You will see this theme of the key to harmony is not tolerance but understanding, because Yasmin truly lived. When she understood Buddhism, she really understood it, and when she understood Islam, she really understood it. When she understood Hinduism, she really lived it. It was not sort of like just a shot in the dark or pretending to understand, because she truly believed it, as you could see in the Wu. It was part of her miracle of life. So, among the movies that Yasmin has done, she did, in her short life, she managed to produce 6 movies. One of her first one was inspired by her parents, and when it first ran, it got criticized by the Muslim authorities because it showed women in traditional, what in Malaysia we call this berkemban. So berkemban it used to be very common. When I was younger, we would see my neighbors hanging clothes in the garden, berkemban. They would be chopping vegetables, berkemban. But nowadays it's sort of like a no-no. So when Yasmin ran this film, she was heavily criticized because it's just not what is expected of Muslims these days, you see. Yeah, so the movement is against traditional dress and now towards black robes and shawls, and against batik and sarongs. And Yasmin, in this movie, she showed the strength of women in their softness, in their kindness, wisdom and compassion, overcoming the wrongs done to them by men. And Yasmin got attacked by the male-dominated Muslim hierarchy for that. And what was her reaction to it? She went on to make Sepet. And then she went on, and Sepet had even more women berkemban. And then she made another 4 movies after that until she passed away. Her movie after this was Sepet. And when she ran this, we asked her, do you think it'll be a success? How many people will turn up for your movie? And her reaction was, even if just one racist felt for one moment, I wish Jason and Orchid could be together, this film's a success to me. The characters you see here are a Buddhist boy and a Muslim girl. And in the movie, Yasmin's script, the boy dies in the end. And what the reaction she wanted through the whole movie was for Muslims and non-Muslims who have ill feelings towards each other, if for a moment after watching the movie and they felt, oh, if only their love story could go on, she would have achieved what she wanted, because she said feeling, the emphasis is on feeling, because feeling is the most sincere thing that you can ever imagine, because you can talk and talk and talk, give all sorts of reasons, but feeling is the most spontaneous, most pure form of a reaction to anything. After doing Sepet, she went on to do Gubra. And Gubra was the story about the redemption of prostitutes, a love for all God's creatures, even a crippled dog, where she showed a Muslim, Bilal, who was friends with a crippled dog. And then it generally talked about what Rumi said in his poetry, the lamps are many, but the light is one. She showed people of different religions living lives of faith in their own religion. And for that, what were the reactions of the public? Yasmin got death threats through email. She got accusations of murtad. In Malaysia, for a Muslim to be accused of murtad is really bad, because murtad is punishable by death. People sent her emails and SMSs saying that now her blood is halal. That means they can kill her and you'll be blessed by God. And those things were really scary. But Yasmin lived by her motto that takut hanya pada Tuhan. She only fears God. If it is okay by God, she doesn't fear anything. And she went on to make 3 more movies. This one is Musin. Musin is seen through the eyes of a child. It's about her first love. Then she went on to do Mualaf. A lot of people in Malaysia thought that Mualaf was a story of a Catholic boy becoming Muslim. In reality, the conversion, Mualaf, the word Mualaf means the convert. But what Yasmin was talking about was not literally converting one religious certificate for another religious certificate, but the conversion of hearts. In this movie, she showed a Catholic boy learning to forgive his mother, and then the Muslim girl learning to forgive her Muslim father. And that conversion is purer and deeper than conversion on a piece of paper. And then the next movie, her last and final movie that she did was Talent Time. It's based on a real incident. In Malaysia, we know it as the Kampung Medan incident, where Muslims and Hindus were killing each other because one was having a wedding, the other one was having a funeral. And those having the funeral felt that those having the wedding were not respecting them, therefore they started killing each other. This issue of respecting and not respecting each other is sort of like a major problem in Malaysia. And Yasmin tried to address this in all her movies, but in very unusual ways. In her casting for this movie, if you're Malaysian, you sort of know like who would, from their look, who would be the Buddhist, who would be the Muslim, and who would be the Hindu. So, but what Yasmin did was she casted the main Hindu character, Ganesh, is actually Muslim. And then the main character of a Muslim is actually Mei Ling, who's a Buddhist. And then the main character, the girl you see on top, she's playing the Muslim girl, she's actually Christian. So this is what Yasmin meant when she says real harmony is not through tolerance, it's through understanding. It's when you start to live under each other's skin that you truly understand each other, that when harmony comes in. Tolerance doesn't bring about any lasting love or harmony. So this is what Yasmin did.